So, well, of course I can help you, darling. Of course I can help you and tell you what life's like with the 1970s. What would you like to know? And her first question of what was life like in the 1970s is, what were mobile phones like in the 1970s? So this is a list of the world's most valuable companies in May, as produced by Forbes. Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, and no, it's not in alphabetical order, Microsoft and Facebook, the 5 most valuable companies in the world. Now, none of them existed in the 1970s, but they have created literally trillions of dollars of wealth over that period of time, and they have surpassed every other organisation which has been around potentially for centuries from the beginning of time in terms of value. So the value creation that's happening is enormous. But most of us, when we actually look at this, what we look at is we look at technology and the value creation and we look at it as a threat. We don't look at digital and go, yippee, digital's coming. No, what we do is we go, disruption. And I reckon that's a bit of a problem, because if you come to work going, I hope I can avoid being disruptive today, I don't reckon that's a particularly empowering context. And I reckon rather let's come to work with a view to go, what can we do positively today to help create the outcomes that we want within the world? And what they said is that they said that people who get digital right, and they said the things that determine whether you're going to be successful in digital or not is a combination of your digital leadership capabilities, the organisational leadership capabilities around digital, and your ability to deploy the digital capability itself. And those who get it right in the top right-hand corner, which they called the fantastic name of the Digerati, significantly outperform all of their industry peers. So in November last year, Bain & Company came out with a survey of their not of their clients, a global survey of the effectiveness of digital transformation across all sorts of organisations. And what they said was a massive 5% of those transformation efforts were successful. A massive 5% of those projects or those transformation initiatives were successful. 20% outright failed, and 75%, they got some benefits from it, but not enough to offset the cost that was being put in there, so it ended up diluting performance over time. So why? Why is it so hard? Now, I don't know all of the reasons why it's hard, but I reckon I know some of them. And so what I'd like to do is go through some of them, and then we'll have a look at, well, what perhaps can we do about that? First one, and I know we've heard this has been a bit of a theme, I think, of the day, is that the first issue is that we think it's about technology, and that we think that the ability to transform is actually about the technology, and that most of the rest of the organisation who don't work in IT go, oh, phew, it's about technology, I'm just going to leave it to the technologists. Because in the end, what these organisations bring that make a difference isn't technology, it's really about their strategy and business model. The reason Amazon's a problem for the warehouse is because they do retail without stores. Why is that a problem? Well, because about 12% of revenue goes into maintaining stores and distribution to stores. Therefore, they've got a 12% cost advantage. This isn't mystical, this is economics. Second one is IT. So traditional IT teams and departments are seen as being slow and expensive. It might be a project methodology problem in the way in which you go and deliver projects. You don't have to read that. That's a standard waterfall project methodology approach. It's going to take you a long time. He says, but it's not about SAP. This is not a technology problem, because that little red bit that I've circled, that's actually the only tech bit in there. The rest of it's your processes, Mr. Chief Executive, that you choose to put in place to manage your organisation and your business, and it has bugger all to do with the actual technical delivery. Now, add to that, partly because we're seen as being expensive and slow, lots of IT teams lack credibility with their business. Right? We lack credibility, and people don't see us as being capable of being able to take the organisation forward. Interesting, eh? So we do want to be agile. But for most of us, if we're honest, we think agile's a methodology. And we reckon that because we've got someone whose job title is now Scrum Master rather than Project Manager, that doesn't mean we're agile, it just means we've changed our tools. Because if you want to be agile, what you have to do is you have to change how you organise. My theory is large projects, large complex projects are difficult to implement. And the reason why they're difficult to implement is because they're large and complex. And that probably what we should do is think about delivering small, simple projects that we can understand. Because the reality is everyone would be better off if we did less things, did them better and did them more quickly. But we try and please everyone and we refuse to conduct the prioritisation discussions that we need to be able to go forward. Perhaps there's some things we can do about it. Now, the destination here is about how do we make sure that we can use IT to create our future rather than be at the reaction. And if we're going to do that, we have to be able to resolve all of those issues. I really like the notion of the hierarchy of needs that says, actually, organisations have many, many needs from IT, many things that need to be done before we can add value and create our future. But some are more fundamental than others, that we have to meet those so that we can then get the right to play at the next level. And so we have to start doing that. And I reckon that in order to do that, there are 3 key things that we need to actually start to do on a day-to-day basis. If I turn this around the right way, it'll help. Number 1 is that we need to ensure that we get delivery excellence. Core thing within the IT team, we need to get delivery excellence. We need to take care of the basic business of managing IT. We need to make sure our systems are reliable and fit for purpose. We need to deliver our projects on time. The next thing we need to do is that we need to engage and collaborate. IT can't do IT by itself, right? We think it's a technology problem and we leave it to the technologists. That is never going to work. Final one is coming back to the Uber example, is it's not technology that adds value, right? It's not the technology that adds value. It's the strategic uniqueness that technology allows us to be able to deliver. We spend so much time doing RFPs to select technologies and so much money doing RFPs to select technologies, but how much time do we actually spend developing our people so they can use them properly? That's like taking your teenager out to learn to drive, spending most of your time with them trying to decide whether you wanted to buy a Toyota or a Honda and neglecting to give them any driving lessons. And we do it all the time. Architect, choose your strategic technologies, invest in the capability so that they can deliver the outcome over time.